Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's April 23rd, 2017. I want to show you something about today's Rockets game, them winning with 113 points on April 23rd, the 113th day of the year, and then Steven Adams, a member of the losing team, wearing a NASA t-shirt in the press conference after. None of this is coincidental. We're going to get to that in a moment. But I want to begin by thanking Nick Wright of Fox Sports, a television personality. Today he put out 2 tweets about my work. Neither of them are exactly endorsements, but he has an audience of nearly 100,000 people. That's a big audience. And he tweeted links to my videos and blog. And I'm grateful for that because I want people to be exposed to this work who aren't aware of it. I have no means to really promote it myself other than YouTube, my blog, my Wednesday radio program on Truth Frequency Radio. So I appreciate him getting the word out there. And for him doing that, I know he's a Houston sports personality. He was working for Houston local sports radio before he moved up to Fox Sports. So I'm going to tell him something a little bit about his Houston basketball team this evening. But this is what he wrote. He just put up a 31-minute video on how the NBA scripted the Cavs sweep. The birth date of NASA is prominently featured. I don't know who this guy is, and in a way it kind of seems like his tweet is meant to maybe mock me, but at the same time, maybe he's aware that these sports games are scripted and he's fed up with it and he's trying to help other people catch on, He's in a precarious position at Fox Sports, but here's his other tweet. This guy has been tweeting these bananas numerology conspiracy theories for months, and I finally went down the rabbit hole and may never get out. Remember when USA Today wrote about me at the beginning of 2016 for calling everything about the Super Bowl before it happened? Their writer used the same terminology about going down the rabbit hole and maybe never coming out. That's stereotypical language. That's part of the programming of our society. But really, go down the rabbit hole, gather the knowledge that you don't have now, the information you don't have now, and use that to improve your position in life. That's all this work's about. Knowledge is power. So, Nick Wright, here's what you need to know about your hometown Rockets scoring 113 points this evening. Today is April 23rd, the 113th day of the year. The Houston Rockets, their symbolism is a space shuttle blasting off. In this nation, that makes us think of NASA, the military space program. NASA in history was established July 29th, 1958, a date with 113 numerology. And just in case you're new to my channel, this morning before this game was played, I put out a video on NASA in 113, and I didn't even think to make a prediction with the Rockets game on the 113th day of the year. But you know what? People who follow my work, they left comments about, what do you think the Rockets are going to do on the 113th day of the year? Well, we found out. So the point is, a lot of my work, if you're aware of this work in real time, you can be looking for these synchronicities that will come, if you will, just as followers of my work were. They were wondering what would happen with the Rockets on the 113th day of the year. Well, lo and behold, they win with 113. So after the game, members of the losing team, Russell Westbrook, who set the new triple-double record this year, with 42. Remember, he beat Oscar Robertson's single-season record of 41, but Oscar Robertson holds the all-time record of 181 triple-doubles. Russell Westbrook has 42. 181 is the 42nd prime number. Special relationship that we talk about a lot on this channel. And people who follow my work said, look at that, he finishes with 42. Anyway, Steven Adams, teammate of Russell Westbrook, these guys lost tonight to the Rockets who scored 113. He comes out with a NASA t-shirt, right? Comes out with a NASA t-shirt, NASA 113. So I thought, okay, why did they put Steven Adams in the NASA t-shirt? Why Steven Adams? Why not Russell Westbrook or somebody else? Well, here it is. Always, you guys, always, this is going on. Last year they were playing dress up with LeBron James. All of his WWE t-shirts, he didn't choose those. They were all part of a script, all part of a narrative. And go back and watch my work from last year. But here's why they chose Steven Adams, born on July 20th, 1993. If you know your history, you know what I'm already going to tell you. The moon landing happened on July 20th, 1969. The most historic moment for NASA, the moon landing by Neil Armstrong, July 20th, 1969. Steven Adams, born on the 24-year anniversary of that. And his birth numerology, July 20th, 1993, date with 139 numerology. Freemasonry has Gematria of 58 and 139. NASA has Gematria of 139. NASA established in 58. In case you're new here, 58 is also the year that Rod Serling, the director of The Twilight Zone, the writer for The Twilight Zone, put out his pilot episode that came out in 58. Then the show began the next year in 59. But in 58, he put out the pilot episode, and it was about putting a man on the moon. The same year NASA opened up. Very special number to Freemasonry, 58. So anyway, Steven Adams, he's born on the anniversary of the moon landing. He has birth numerology of 139, corresponding with Freemasonry. And look, the name Steven Adams has Gematria of 66, just like Neil Armstrong, the first man to touch foot on the moon. Now here's a few more good ones. July. If you know your astrology, July is in the time of Cancer. And Cancer is ruled by the moon. I'm a Cancer. My birthday is July 21st. Anyway, Cancer is ruled by the moon. So you have a moon landing in the time of Cancer in the year 69. The astrological symbol for Cancer is 69. You see? The whole moon landing was a ritual in numbers. And these rituals and numbers are important to Freemasonry. And who established NASA? NASA was established by Freemasonry. You can watch the online tour of the Masonic Lodge in Washington, D.C. They talk about NASA and how every man to travel to space has been a Freemason. You know? It's not hard to see what's going on. Freemasonry has their hands in a lot of things, and what they also have their hands in are birthing athletes. Producing athletes as if they are cattle on a farm. Birthing them accordingly, and who knows what else. You know, back in the early 90s, back when this guy was born, they told us that they had cloned a sheep, Dolly. If they can clone a sheep, what else can they clone? What else can they grow artificially? You know, what else can they tamper with? So anyway, there's more. There's more. In the language of Gematria, Armstrong sums to 44, like space, like Cancer. I forgot a big one up here. Rockets has Gematria 44, you know, a tribute to space. The star player of the Rockets is James Harden. James Harden has Gematria 44, just like Rockets. You know? Meant to put those up here. But anyhow, you get the point. Space, Cancer, Armstrong, creating news by the numbers, syncing them up in numerical rituals. It's been going on for a long time. See my recent work on the death of the astronaut John Glenn. His death had a lot to do with 44. And then see the day they had his funeral, what that was all about. I have so many videos on the history of NASA. That one on John Glenn, his funeral, the most recent work I've done. This 113 number, you know, where we started with. 113 points on the 113th day. NASA established on a date with 113 numerology. What this is all about is Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Scottish equals 113. Scottish Rite, 165, just like Neil Armstrong, you know. Our Masonic moonwalker. The number of great significance to Scottish Rite Freemasonry is 33. And the history of NASA and the Apollo program, so much 33, overwhelming. A lot of videos on this. Steven Adams, who has the NASA shirt. You know? Also, name Gematria of 33. His full name in Gematria sums to the same thing as basketball, you know? Tonight, the leading scorer for the Rockets was Nene Hilario off the bench. Nene Hilario has Gematria of 110. Remember, if you write out 110, it sums to 113. Just did a lot of work on Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler equals 110, like president equals 110. He's born on April 20th, the 110th day of the year. He has birth numerology of 113. These numbers get coded together in a lot of our contrived history, which Adolf Hitler is very much a part of. Moon landings, Adolf Hitler. Everything that we have been programmed in our socialization of an education system is manufactured lies, part of an ongoing agenda. You know, we're deep into the New World Order, and the New World Order's favorite distraction for the manpower of this world is rigged sports by the numbers. You know, the rigged by the numbers part's what most people aren't up to speed on. So a few more things, just in case you missed it this morning, covered the NASA disasters, Columbia and Challenger, the catastrophic explosions that supposedly killed astronauts. Those two sore spots in the NASA program, I put out a video on that this morning before the Rockets played. Just in case you missed that, you can watch the video, sub here, check out my videos, but I'll review it in case you missed it. The Columbia disaster was NASA's 113th mission. The 113th mission by NASA ended in disaster, 113. 113 is a really special number. If we get on here and type in all these words, you'll see. If we type mainstream, dishonest, not true, all of them, fiction, bullshit, everything that's on this list, all of these words that have to do with dishonesty, they all sum to 113. In the history of the NBA, Michael Jordan equals 113. So does Kobe Bryant. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, a lot of parallels in their career. They both retired against the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz, the only team that's 113. Kobe's retirement poem was Dear Basketball. Remember what a contrived name that was? Dear Basketball 113, just like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant also retired 41 years after his father was drafted 14th overall by the Golden State Warriors. When you write 14, it sums to 41, just like when you write Golden State, 41. And notice the 58 as well. Watch what happens when you write Kobe Bryant, 58. Notice what happens when you write Los Angeles Lakers, 58. They retired Kobe's jersey. They had his career-ending ceremony on April 18th, 2016. He played his last game April 13th. They had the ceremony 5 days later. 4 plus 18 plus 20 plus 16, the date numerology, 58. And remember, David Stern, Stern means star in German, when he became commissioner in 84, he built up Michael Jordan 113 and then Kobe 113. He said the NBA wasn't about basketball. It was about making stars. And the word star has Gematria 58. So does science. Think about NASA exploring outer space, the sun, you know. So anyway, 113, the Columbia explosion was the 113th NASA mission. Again, NASA established with the 113 date. NASA was also established on a date with 94 numerology, connecting to these words: outer space, spaceship, Freemason, conspiracy. We'll touch more on that in just a moment. But check this out. The Columbia disaster, the 113th mission, it happened February 1st, 2003. That's the 32nd day of the year. Disaster 32, like America. The Challenger disaster happened 73 seconds into the flight. Think about that on a stopwatch. That's a minute 13. 113. 73 is also interesting because NASA has the 73 connection. So does United. So does Sacrifice. Columbia, Challenger, and America all share Gematria 50. The date of the first explosion was a date with 35 numerology, NASA 35. So anyway, Covered NASA in 113 this morning, then the Rockets get the big 113 tribute later in the day. You know what I mean? And this is what I've been explaining for years, that the sports are synced up with the news. It's all part of a big, ongoing Masonic ritual. And it's so repetitive when you know what to look for. Exactly why the people who follow me were saying, you know, what are the Rockets going to do today? If you've ever heard of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and the riddle with 42, here's what it's all about. It's all related to what we're talking about right now. This article was written in 1996. Yes, the answer to the universe really is 42. And you know what? On the topic of universe has the Gematria of 113. Here we are on the 113th day of the year. NASA has a lot to do with exploring the universe. Glad I was reminded of that. There's always more, and I always forget things in these presentations because there's so much to keep in store, you know what I mean? But, yes, the answer is 42, which comes from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Look at this. These words have 42 gematria, and so do many more, but these are the significant ones. Math, Big Bang, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy has a lot to do with the Big Bang, just like scientific explanation of our existence. Just in case you didn't know this before, Genesis, the first book of the Bible, the Christian explanation for how we came into existence, the scientific explanation, Big Bang. It's interesting, the 42 as well, because the New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. Original Bibles were 42-line Bibles. But again, Big Bang 33, Genesis 33. Genesis means beginning, birth 33, seed 33. Special number. Number of significance, again, number of Freemason fixation. But anyway, we're focusing on the 42. Math 42, Big Bang 42, outer space 42, Freemason 42. The divisors of 42 sum to 96. These numbers have a mathematical relationship. All the numbers that divide into 42, you add them together, they sum to 96. The word knowledge is this same way. And something cool, brand new to the calculator, if you click match, check this out. Derek, he's going to continue to improve this search function, but what this does is sorts words by their most relevant match. So if you see all the rows highlighted, all these words are the same in Gematria. All these words, well here, when you get to Freemason, you see it's a little bit different. A little bit different than knowledge, but it highlights all the ones that are the same. And it pulls up all these matches. This is brand new. So I'll link the Gematrinator. You know, this website gets better by the day. There's so many tools here. That's the latest improvement as of today. Wanted to share that. But check this out. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Gematria of 139, just like Freemasonry, just like NASA. Very special number. In case you don't know, America, 139. America is New Jerusalem to the Zionist Jews. You learn about the true history of this nation. It was founded by Jewish bankers, Jewish warmongers, the slave trade, the genocide, a lot of Jewish Zionism. And it's all left out of the history books because the people who write the history books control what message gets out there. And look at this world. The one group of people you cannot speak about are the Jewish Zionists. In France, it comes with a prison sentence, and in the future it'll probably be that way in the U.S. as well. But anyway, Jerusalem 139, Jewish State 139, Freemasonry is based in Jewish history, the Old Testament. For you NBA fans, you know who runs this league. You know? You got Jeff Van Gundy yelling out Revelation after the Warriors win with 121 points, as they always do, as I always talk about. Warriors, originally from Philadelphia, the city name from the book of Revelation. See my video just the other day. They won with 121, and Jeff Van Gundy screamed out Revelation after they won with 121. It's just sick. In Revelation, it says the false Jews will rule in the end times. Those are who the Zionist Jews are. Israel, the Jewish nation, that's not supposed to exist. It says there's not to be a Jewish state in the Torah. It's the Talmud, the corrupt Jewish text. The Zionist which is what most Jews go by now, because almost every Jewish person is Zionist at this day and age. But they go by the Talmud, which is the false Jewish text. For you Christians who don't understand it, it's like if the Book of Mormon took over Christianity, you know? So anyway, Big Bang also shares this gematria of 147, like Freemason, like Kabbalah, like conspiracy, like outer space. You remember a few years back when Crimea was going through all that stuff and they had an interim prime minister? He was prime minister for exactly 147 days. His name was Yatsenyuk, which equaled 33. At the White House over here in America, if you think Crimea is all that different than the United States of America, you're wrong. President of the United States has this gematria of 147. There's 147 windows at the White House. Why windows? Because windows, or window, the singular, has gematria of 74, just like George Washington, the 33rd degree Freemason it's named after. Notice the 187. Washington, D.C. also has the gematria of 187. Trump had his GOP convention on July 18th, 187 days before Inauguration Day. Adolf Hitler published Mein Kampf on July 18th, 18/7. Donald Trump created the Muslim ban on Holocaust Remembrance Day. Just trying to give you a few more riddles in the media besides what's rigged into the basketball game, if you can follow me. But just look at all these 147 words, you know. Kabbalah is what we're doing. This is part of, if you don't know what Kabbalah is, it's a spiritual understanding through the Jewish faith that's been adopted by a cult culture about how to ascend spiritually. And at the bottom of the chart is focus on sex, the physical, the present. You know, at the top is, you know, spiritual nirvana. And it's based on the two pillars, which go back to Solomon's Temple, which have a lot to do with September 11th. But anyway, Kabbalah, this numerical, spiritual, old world, esoteric way of understanding this world. And that's why these people are using these numbers. This is all part of their religion, their spirituality, their way of believing and operating. And as far-fetched and ridiculous as it might seem to you, I mean, like how this guy called it a out there bananas thing, I mean, it seems bananas to us, but this is stuff that the people who are ruling the world have been doing for centuries. You know what I mean? And really, it's not that bananas if you look at it. It's the alphabetic order with numbers behind it. Stuff you could have learned as a first, second grader when you were learning how to spell and read and write, it all goes together. You know, people just think it hasn't been taught to them, it hasn't been introduced to them, it's just too out there, you know. It's like they had to have that teacher tell it to them at some point in their life. But even words like spaceship just fitting right in. In The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the phrasing is, this is how it's phrased. Life, the universe, and everything. If you haven't read the book, there's a computer created by a doctor, Dr. Saunders. It's called Deep Thought, and it says the answer to the world is 42. And the way it phrases it is 42. Life, the universe, and everything. That's why this article up here says, yes, the answer to the universe really is 42. And for so long, people have asked what this even means. Life, the universe, and everything sums to 147. Just like don't panic, which is the big phrase from the book Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You see the NASA astronauts wearing t-shirts that say don't panic. Dr. Saunders, who creates the machine called Deep Thought. Right here, Deep Thought, the name of the machine that comes up with the 42 number, you know? Like Dr. Saunders, like don't panic. Outer space, spaceship, you know? See how it works? Hopefully I'm not typing too fast. But this is what's going on in the world. And, you know, these numbers, they're really important to the gang operating. Look at LeBron James. You think this is a coincidence? His tattoo on his back, Chosen One. This is what this guy was saying was bananas about my work, you know. This is what I talked about. LeBron James's tattoo, his scripted career, National Basketball Association equals 98, just like Chosen One, just like Chosen, you know? And there's a lot of Manchurian athletes in the NBA. Again, I just showed how Rockets has the Gematria of 98, and so does James Harden. You know? Professional sports full of people who were born and bred to play in these leagues. They were raised no different than a horse is for, racing. Same thing. The powers that shouldn't be are doing the same thing with human beings as they are with animals. And as a bonus, we'll cover even Mark Elliott Zuckerberg real quick. In case you want to share this on social media, if you use Facebook, you should know this. I'm hoping I touch a lot of the 90-some thousand users or followers of this man, Nick Wright. I'm sure a lot of you use Facebook. In 2010, Mark Zuckerberg was doing an interview, and this woman said, "I heard there was something on the inside of your hoodie. Is that true?" And you can go back and watch this interview. I have it all linked here. He gets all sweaty. You can literally see sweat start to come off him. And his voice starts to tremble and shake. And she's like, "Come on, show us what's on the inside. We want to know what's in there." So he takes off his hoodie, and inside there's this logo. And he says, "That's our secret corporate mission." She's like, "What?" Well, look at this logo. This logo is the Star of David, right? Mark Zuckerberg, he's Jewish. The Star of David, the symbol of Israel, the Zionist nation, the false Jews. Look at this, you guys. In Revelation, the final book of the Bible, it says the false Jews will rule in the end times. There's a letter written to the church of Philadelphia. The church of Philadelphia. Look at the gematria here of these numbers. I'm going to write in church. Notice a 61 and 101, just like Philadelphia. 223 is a huge number in the Bible, but look at this. The letter is about the synagogue of Satan. The synagogue of Satan, the false Jews said to rule in the end times. 223, letter written to the church of Philadelphia, So anyway, I'm going to show you what this has to do with Mark Zuckerberg real quick. Inside his hoodie, the Star of David. And the name Mark Elliott Zuckerberg in Gematria sums to 119, like Star of David, like all-seeing eye, like master plan. Just real quick, in case you're new here, the Jewish people have a holy day of remembrance known as Tisha B'Av, which equals 911 in Jewish Gematria. And what this day is to remember the destruction of the two temples. The two temples, which was Solomon's temple and the temple built in its place after it was destroyed. And Freemasonry, all of their history is in Solomon's temple. Now look at this. Solomon's temple in Gematria sums to 68. And do you know what happened in 1968? 911 was made the National Emergency Dialing Code. World Trade Center construction began. George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. His father was the head of the CIA, 68. George W. Bush, his birthday is July 6th. From July 6th to September 11th is a span of 68 days. 68 days. Space Odyssey 2001 came out in 68. O.J. Simpson won the Heisman. And O.J. Simpson's trial is a complete hoax, a complete lie, a complete deception put on by an actor who had just starred in Naked Gun 33 1/3. And the whole thing is a riddle with his 68 Heisman Trophy. We were talking about 113 in deception. Ron Goldman, 113. How about O.J. Simpson? 113. We're getting punked by this media in more ways than you'd ever know. But hold on, I'm not done with Mark Elliott Zuckerberg. His birthday, May 14th, 1984. United States of America, 84. Masonry, 84. Zionism, 84. Read the book 1984, where people are ruled over with propaganda, lies, deception. His birthday is the Independence Day of Israel, which was in 48. In 48. 223, the Synagogue of Satan number, the 48th prime. Freemason has Gematria 48 like Illuminati. Again, the Synagogue of Satan 223 as well as Masonic. Freemasonry based in Old Testament history. Mark Elliott Zuckerberg, his full name also has Gematria of 232 like Satan. Zuckerberg is also 55 like Satan. Very special number in numerology is 55. Israel created on the 333rd day of the year 47. 47 degrees on the Freemason compass is a tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid about how to establish foundation using the North Star known as the Pole Star. Pole Star equals 47. just like Star of David. 47 degrees on the Freemason compass. Israel recognized as a nation again in 47 with a 33-member vote by the United Nations on the 333rd day of the year, November 29th. 47th problem of Euclid, 333. 333. 333rd day of 47. For all you Cavs fans, now you know what that whole Euclid thing's about. You guys are in Ohio. Ohio, one of 2 states with the Gematria 47 and the ordinal method. Indiana, one of the few that has it in reverse reduction. Cavs just swept in Indiana, not by chance. This is the Cavs' 47th season. This is all symbolic rituals. The first NBA championship in the year 47. So who's doing this? All of these practices belong to Masonry and Zionist Jews. And look at who runs your NBA. Look at who runs the world of pro sports. Look at who runs media. Look at who really runs government. Look at who really runs money. It's this gang, you know? David Stern from Germany. You know who paid for Hitler in Germany? Their little actor puppet, Mr. 113? The Zionist Jew bankers. That's right. Because they needed the excuse of Hitler and his supposed war crimes to create their Zionist state of Israel, something that was planned before World War I. See my work. It was printed hundreds of times in U.S. papers from the late 1800s up to before World War II started that 6 million Jews had died. Nobody ever cared or paid attention until after World War II. That's when the lie finally stuck. Because in the Talmud, it says there has to be 6 million Jews dead to reclaim Israel. Adam Silver. Show you something about the name Silver. Silver, 85, just like basketball. And notice also silver is 77, just like Judaism. Think about jewelry, you know. So this one's for you, Nick Wright. Since you got a voice on TV, man, I think you should have me on. You could talk to the man who, in the history of the world, has called more sports championships than anybody else, you know? And I could get on TV and actually honestly say that and back it up. That's the beauty of it. So Nick Wright, you know, there's nothing bananas about this. It's all truth. Unless you mean bananas in a truthful way. But thanks for promoting the work. I wish more people would, you know? For all of you who don't think sports are scripted, I'm telling you, you're not doing yourself any favors. You're not doing yourself any favors. These people are such puppets, they'll even go out and play dress-up. And it's not just this guy. It's like I said, last year they were playing dress-up with LeBron James. I was showing the same thing why he was wearing the shirts he was, the days he was wearing them. That whole Ultimate Warrior thing when he got off the plane, go back and check it out. Stuff is sick. All right, until next time.